Hello, my name's John. This is my Tyranid Old One Eye conversion, and you're watching Wargames Models and Other Hobbies. Hello and welcome back to another video in this project. If you haven't seen the first one where I start the conversion of Old One Eye, I'll leave a link in the description to that first video. Today I am going to be doing some sculpting, filling in the gap around the neck and then starting some of the details around the top of the chest and the shoulders. So to start with, I'm going to take the head off, and what I want to do is fill in this space in here with green stuff and sculpt a little bit of detail. What I'm also going to do, I'm going to take the rod out of the head because I'll be using that head without that rod to push all the way in. So I've already mixed up some green stuff. And all I'm going to do to start with is roll a few little sausages and put them in. And I'm not too worried if I go over any edges or there's too much green stuff at the moment, as when I start sculpting it and moving it around, that's when I can kind of tidy it up. I do enjoy sculpting with green stuff and adding details and that kind of thing. It can seem daunting sometimes to use a sculpting medium to create some details on your miniatures, whether that is with green stuff or milliput or any other sculpting material. Right, let's just push that last bit in there. And now what I want to do is I'm just going to place the head where I want it to be. There we go. So I've got a bit of a mark where I know it's going to be. Green stuff's still quite sticky, so when I do push that in, it will most likely stick to it and I won't necessarily need some glue, mainly because this was from another conversion and it does have quite a rough underside. So first things first, I think I'm going to use the little spoon on this tool just to start pushing it in. And I might have to add a little bit more green stuff to this as the foil underneath compresses slightly. I think I'm going to have to do, but that's okay because there's still some mix just here. Now, because it's a two-part material, once you've mixed it, it starts to harden. Depending on the temperature, it will vary on how long it takes, but I tend to mix up batches kind of like a centimetre across. If I'm doing large bits like this, if I'm doing small bits, I'll do smaller bits of green stuff, but I won't do much larger than that. If I've got a lot of sculpting like I'm going to be doing on this, I'll mix it in batches. So this first bit is just to help me fill this area. And because a lot of it's going to be hidden by the head, I don't have to worry too much about what kind of detail, and I think I'm going to be mirroring this kind of, it looks like the underside of a mushroom, doesn't it? The gills of the mushroom. So I'm going to be mirroring that somewhat. And to start that, let's use this prong, and I'm just going to push these little details in. Now, benefit of it being a Tyranid is it's very alien, so I'm not really going to worry about having any reference material. Normally, if I'm doing any sculpting, if it's based on reality, I will get some reference material that I can use, and it'll help me kind of complete the project a lot quicker. If you're doing it straight from your head, it can cause a few issues. So I always use reference material. Now as I'm pushing this back, what I'm probably going to do is sculpt out a bit of the detail from here and here. But we'll start by just pushing all of these gill-like shapes in place. But if you've never used green stuff or milliput, I'd recommend starting out by just doing simple stuff like bases for your models. Okay, quite liking the way that that's roughly turning out. Not worrying about the middle because of, so hit the camera, as it's going to get covered by the head anyway. What I will do is just get a few little bits of green stuff ready, and I'm going to just start filling some of the bigger gaps in there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, if you've never done it before, I recommend starting with like your bases, creating texture. I'll leave another link in the description to a video that I did some time ago that I've re-released, which is creating a base for some Orlok vehicles for Necromunda, where I use some milliput in quite a nice simple way. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of texture just along here. And the good thing, because of the way that this model is, like I said, I'm not really looking for anything overly detailed. What I will want to do though is bring something down here, re-sculpt this section, something down there, and then sort out this front. So let's start with a little bit of milliput just in there. And the key thing, what I tend to do is put bits of, not milliput, sorry, green stuff, put little lumps of it in the position where I want to start sculpting, so I can get the massing out correct before I move on to any other kind of detailed sculpting. And the blending of it into the plastic, what I tend to do is wait till it starts to go a little harder, and then I can cut it with a knife, or I can sand it slightly. But the other thing that you can do is to kind of push it out and spread it slightly as you go, so it gets a little bit thinner. And then never be afraid in using your finger as well, just to rub that smooth. I always have a little ball of green stuff so I can wipe the tool with it. It makes it a lot easier to wipe the green stuff onto other green stuff. Let's bring my finger along. There we go. So at the moment, I'm not too worried if it doesn't match perfectly, because of the way that Old One Eye has battle damage and things on it. If there's a few cuts and scrapes, it doesn't really bother me. If this looks slightly different to the other side, it works with the damage on the head. Just saying that, what I might do is actually sculpt it a little bit torn up. So what I'm finding at the moment to kind of create content for the channel. I've got a few projects on the go, which if you've watched any of my recent videos, you'll know I have quite a few different things happening. And what I'm trying to do is kind of cycle through them for the videos. So over a period of a few weeks, you'll get all of the videos for that particular project. Right, I think if I'm putting that onto there, I need to mix up a little bit more green stuff so I can cover the rest of it. So I've had this batch for quite a while now, and normally, rather than buying green stuff, I search for Needite, which is exactly the same stuff, but it's a plumber's epoxy, so it's a lot cheaper than getting it from resellers as sculpting clay. So yeah, I normally look for Needite and buy a batch of it online and then use it over time. So okay, so that's mixed nice and thoroughly. So let's put a matching piece. Ooh, still quite sticky. Actually, it's still really sticky. Let's just leave that for a second. Put that back in. Okay. So what I'm thinking of doing is bringing these armor plates up the middle, covering this with something. Let's start by, let's roll that smooth. So I always use all the parts of my sculpting tools, not just the tool heads. I'll use the whole body as well. So good, that's on camera. I'm thinking this year at some point, if I keep making more and more videos, I might try and get a little screen that I put over there, which I can see exactly what I'm doing. I think, yeah, I'm going to have that little bit of damage, oh, get in focus, bit of battle damage there on this side, which kind of matches the damage on Old One Eye's head. Don't know what this bit of detail is, but that's okay. Part of his body. So let's place a bit in there. And what I'm going to do, let's use, actually, can use one of the texture spreaders. Works really nicely at pushing green stuff around your model. And as always, this video is going to be real time, so you're going to see the whole process. And if you have any requests for other videos, please drop it in the comments. If it's your first time here, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you don't want to, well, it's your own choice. I'm not that precious about it. It's part of my hobby. I enjoy making these videos. It actually gives me really good motivation to complete projects. And I think that front bit let's run it a bit similar to the rest of it with a kind of that mushroom-esque gill. Look, I might do a little bit of pokey detail. You can't beat a bit of pokey detail with a sharp point. So I'm using an awl here to do that. Nothing too major. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to push the head into position now. There we go. So there we have the head in place. What I might do later on is try and get some green stuff down and kind of, actually no, I know what I'm going to do. Let's just try and push it a little bit further in and then bring it out. There we go. No, that's okay. But yeah, I might try a little later on getting some green stuff down that edge, but I won't do it while that's still going off. But let's sort this bit out on the front here. There are lots of little bits that need patching on this, but there's no point me going through that whole process with you right now. I'll just show you this first bit of detail. So first thing to do is push in that little bit there. Noticed, I say that a lot. The first thing that I'm going to do, it seems to be my default kind of, while I'm trying to think of what to say, which I suppose is a bit better to and but I do find that I start waffling quite a bit whilst doing these projects. I hope, oh, I screwed that up. I hope you don't mind me just inanely chatting while I do this. I think having these real-time videos, I kind of imagine that you might be doing your hobby at the same time as watching them, and it's the same as when you just chat with someone while you're doing your hobby. Could be cool. And that's the drop of the video. If you watch my videos, you'll see I do drop things quite a bit. Annoyingly, because of that thumb. And a few years ago, blimey, nearly 10 years ago, I nearly cut it off with a table saw. Went all the way around my thumb, and it's never fully recovered. One of the reasons why I do my hobby is to try and keep my hands constantly moving. So I don't kind of have any what am I trying to say? So it doesn't get worse or anything like that. But yeah, sometimes my thumb just randomly moves, chucks stuff, and I drop things. And it tends to be when I'm really concentrating on something and my thumb is in use, which generally is every time I'm doing a video. I think I'll put a little bit more onto that one, but hey, we all have little things like that. Yeah, life is deals you things. See, I'm gonna sculpt that a little bit like it's been damaged all the way down actually. Matches up with this side of the head. Oh, that's... Sorry, I know I'm not talking now, I'm just doing a little bit of concentration and sculpting, and then my brain shuts down from the talking bit. Doesn't really help, as one of the things of doing a video is the talking. This top plate isn't quite moving how I want it to move. Careful not to touch the head. Always reposition it though. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right, let's try and actually make... Ooh, hope this has been in focus. Apologies if this hasn't been in focus. There we go. There we go. Okay, I have a little bit of green stuff left. What I'm going to do is roll a couple of sausages of it and stick them together on a stick. Right, I want to try and get yeah, I've realised I've completely stopped talking now. I'm just trying to fill some of that gap in there. Don't need to worry too much about all of it, it's just this side. And no, that's all okay. Let's have a look at that so far. Okay. So I've now sculpted all of that internal section, and I've done the front just here. Put the head in, and yeah, no, I'm happy with that. Well, what I'm going to do over the next however long till the next video on this guy, I'm going to do a little bit more kind of filling in and sculpting of detail around where I created these custom weapons. If there's any gaps like there are there, just fill those and that kind of thing. But for now, I'm going to call this video. So I hope you've enjoyed this little sculpting video, and thank you so much for tuning in. My name's John, and you've been watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies.